We are fucking here, y'all. And we are about to get into some business. Like we ain't never gotten to no business before. We got a lot to talk about. We're back again, not necessarily a Wednesday, but it is a Thursday. So we are going to get down like it's old times, talking about how things are so astronomically ass. You already know who it is. It's your boy Quamon Star G, alongside my MD cohorts in the squad. Let them know who you guys are all at one time, since we don't do it individually anymore, because y'all know who we are at this point in time.
Yes, they know who he is. They know who he is.
Yeah. And again, since we've been putting out a lot of great content that has been very much pre-recorded, this is a live. So we encourage y'all to be in that chat, chatting it up, letting us know your feelings, letting us know your anger, your rage, your emotions. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. You do not have to fake the funk and be, oh yeah, we're happy about what's going on. Nope, you do not have to do that. And if you do genuinely feel that way, then I guess that's your prerogative. And no shade, no shade. But yeah,
Not no shade.
that is where we are right now. But we before we get into all of that, we got some couple little things we want to touch on first and foremost before we really get into it. Some shadow dressing. Shadow dressing? What the hell is shadow dressing, Kwamani? Let me just stop talking and go ahead and toss it to Avia about what we're gonna be talking about.
Okay, so before
Shadow dressing? You like shadow dressing? I don't even know where I was going with that.
But before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, pretty much our first two topics are the first one we're going to talk about is Cat Grahm, because there was this video that was circulating on Twitter the other day, and I was a Vampire Diaries fan, the originals fan, Legacies fan, and Bonnie Bennett was probably the best character on the whole show. Like she was probably the best character. But she was underutilized. They did her wrong a lot of the times, like they did a lot of black women on those shows. Um, and there's this video of her getting her hair and makeup done by a black makeup artist by the name of Denissa Merricks. And Kat's getting she's getting her makeup done, and she starts bawling. She starts crying like in tears because she has never had that experience of of actually having the proper care of makeup, hair. And people don't realize on these sets there are barely any black makeup artists and hairstylists on these sets. And so there's been this thing going around where a lot of black actresses come out like, yeah, I had to do my own hair and my own makeup because there was no one who could do it for me because they didn't know how to do it. Or if they did do it, they would mess up. My hair, would fall out. They wouldn't use the right chemicals. They wouldn't know how to braid it properly, stuff like that. And so like she's crying. She's going in tears because this is a true cathartic moment for her because she's probably never had that care when getting her hair and makeup done on these sets because most likely she was in the Vampire Diaries. She was the only main black cast member on that show, so she probably never had that kind of attention, that kind of detail to her needs as a black woman when it comes to hair and makeup. And just the tears were like, yeah, she went through something, like her career, like she went through this, because it's like I can only imagine what she went through on the set of the Vampire Diaries to make her just bust into tears like that by getting her hair and makeup done by a black woman. Like it was one of those moments like, wow, yeah, this actually happens. Like black women rarely are allowed to have these opportunities with other black women doing their hair and makeup. It's like sometimes you don't realize that. No, as a black woman, like we really don't trust anyone else besides black women to do our hair. Like, because no one else really knows how to do it. So it's just like, it's just one of those things like, wow, this happens, and it was just one of those moments where you're like, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Every time I've seen something about the Vampire Diaries, it revolves around a racist behavior towards Kat and her character, and how she was very much unsupported by the cast and the crew and the author, I believe, or am I getting that mixed with Shadows and Bone? But I can definitively tell you that the CW, y'all watched this channel long enough, you know my disdain for the CW network and how it's treated black actors, specifically black actresses in this vein. And I can honestly say that if you were to timeline it, it started with Kat's mistreatment on the Vampire Diaries before that was the kind of the unfortunate genesis point of it all. And just to see the video of her finally in a position where she can be surrounded by women who's going to make her look authentic and not just make her, you know, look any type of way and not respect what a black woman is supposed to look like in an authentic manner. And then, just all of that emotion, and then dealing with the fan base, because the Vampire Diaries fan base, y'all know the ones that were not kind to her about any of her, her testimonies of mistreatment in that vein. So yeah, I'm happy for her, but I'm sad that she even has to fucking feel so strongly about that happening for her, because that's just whack. That's whack that the CW got away with doing that shit for so long, and people still foolishly think it's some sort of progressive minded network, when in reality all it's ever been is a hollow one.
Just like another company. But
Excuse me,
before we get on, I mean, like, it just it sucks. It really does suck. And I'm not shocked because, like you said, the treatment that she got during the show, and like I think there's a compilation on YouTube showing every single, like,
11 minutes worth, y'all. It's 11
minutes. Yeah, it's awful, and I'm not surprised because, that's just, unfortunately, that's how it is. For people who do, I don't have to get into it. You already know. It's very difficult for people like us, in that regard, especially if you don't have people who don't care. But that's the other thing. There are people who just don't care. I think the bigger conversation there is, if you don't have people who don't care on that set, or in that realm, specifically for Black women, like, there's always going to be some mistreatment, and, just there's very little justice done. See what I did there? And it sucks. It just really sucks for the whole situation. And I'm not shocked. Like I said, I'm not shocked that now she finally feels vindicated. I'm not shocked by it, but it's just like all the Black women specifically on the CW who have come out and said something. Just imagine the ones who hadn't said anything. Like, that's the worst part.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. It really is awful. And Mike can jump in if he wants, but there's a very similar situation that we'll jump in a second, and it sucks. It really does suck.
Yeah, it's disappointing because I feel like now in 2022 and going into 2023, we have people of color who do go to theater school, who mastered these techniques in hair, makeup, and all of this, and you still do not give these people jobs that can take care of these women, that can make them look, appropriate for what their hairstyles is and for what their skin tones is. And it's not just with actresses; it's also in the modeling agency still to this
Mm-hmm.
day. A lot of models
Mm-hmm.
I've seen when I watch, like, these fashion runway, these fashion weeks and stuff like that. Some of these models be, they're gonna get the check and they're gonna do their job, but they don't feel comfortable with how their hair looks, you know. So I just think now and going into the future, I think companies and studios or whoever need to hire more diversity when it comes to, stage makeup, hair, all that types of stuff, because it just doesn't make any sense now. But I'm happy that Kat feels how she feels now, and she had that moment because it's just a full circle moment. To be comfortable in somebody and know that that person is going to make you look good on screen, it's just, I think it's just a full circle moment for her.
It's just crazy how, because the Crown Act, which is an act that pretty much lets black women wear their hair naturally. Like it's insane that black women have to have a law in place just for them to wear their hair naturally.
Hmm.
Like that's insane. And it's like we're we shouldn't have to go through all these hoops, and red tape just to look how we want, to look. Like we shouldn't have to go through all this in order to do that. And it's just like Aaron said, these are the women who have spoken out, but just imagine the ones who haven't. Like it's the list is never ending, and I won't say nothing's being done, but there needs to be a lot more work.
Yeah.
Like if there is a black actress or actresses on set, there should be some black makeup and hairstylists to either guide the other hairstylists or makeup artists or something, because something has to be done. Because like I said, too many times have black actresses, and like Mike said, too, models on Twitter that have come with stories saying that they've had to do their own hair and makeup. Like it was like a chain reaction. Like
Hmm.
once, because I remember Ashley Murray, I think, stated that she had to do her own hair and makeup on Riverdale at the beginning because there was no one who could do it, and the list just kept growing. It kept growing. It kept growing, and you're like, wow. And do their white counterparts, are they like, wow, you really have to do that? Something needs to be done, but no one, like Aaron said, like nothing's being done. Like no one's stepping up and like, okay, this has got to change. And it's just
Yep. And then that's like, and that is part and parcel
You
with
think
the
that's
next point. Oh, what's up, Aaron?
yes.
No,
I
I
said,
was
if
just
you
saying
think
that's
that's bad, let's talk about that lighting.
yeah,
Oh yes.
that's
See that?
that's
Like when
Yeah.
I
yeah,
when
that's
I no 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 when I read that, I was a little pissed off because I do watch Titans, and
as I keep
I
telling y'all to stop watching Titans because they pull shit like this, and I keep
but
trying
I
to.
mean, as a viewer, I don't think you would, even notice. I mean, I think I do now watching it. I'm like, dang, it's a little dark in here, or but when the actress when she finally comes out and say that, it makes you look at her whole first two seasons totally different now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And it sucks
Mhm.
because I feel like for her to go through what she went through when she was cast and everybody talked so much junk about what she had on and everything like that, and then to also deal with it inside and you trying to tell the person, hey, I my
yeah,
lighting doesn't
yeah.
look up to par. Go
Let's
ahead.
just go on look because let's let them know specifically what we're talking about. So
Oh,
like Anna Diop from Titans, she did a podcast interview over this weekend where she was talking about how the main what's the correct terminology, y'all? Before I just butcher it with some
Director of
language.
photography or
Director,
cinematographer.
the director of photography basically was like yeah, I got to prioritize your white castmates, your lighter castmates over you. And if I do prioritize you, it would make everything look bad. That's just the gist of it. And she was talking about how that hurt her and how like it's like it's such a rough thing to hear, specifically because considering she is the primary female lead in Titans, and she's not prioritized in how the scenes are lit and shot. Which I don't know how that's how, like Mike was saying, how you can even go about conceiving that. And again, when you think about how Starfire has been portrayed initially, and you think about the general aesthetic of Titans and stuff like that, it's like you really have an issue lighting this black woman, but everything looks fucking dreary and neon and like so garbagely neon shot. And you're telling me you can't focus on this black woman that will probably make these shots look infinitely better?
Because it's from a filmmaking standpoint, we as black people, we have more bluish tones in our skin. So when we're lit, we need more of a golden look to bring out those colors. I'm like, that's like, if you could just focus on that with her, it'd be perfect. But you didn't. You chose to ignore what she was saying, because that's very important. Because that's another thing. Like, also, a lot of not just actors, a lot of black actors too have come forward saying, "Yeah, I wasn't lit right in this scene. They don't know how to light. They don't know how to light us." And that's something that should be taught in well, because someone probably didn't go to film school, so they don't know the proper skin to light ratio, so they don't know how to properly do that. And it's just like, that's something that now that it has been brought to the light, definitely needs to be taught, like how to properly light. Because I'm like, they made her look so blue in season 1 and 2. Because I was noticing that when she was talking, like, why did this does look a little blue? Why does her skin tone look bluer than normal? It's like, it is. And just hearing her story, and that fact that, no, she went to him, she told him, that she felt like she didn't look right in season 1, 2. Can we change the lighting? Can we change it? He's like, he said, I had to prioritize them over you. And then he gets rewarded for that behavior. He continues to direct episodes later. And it's like that. So pretty much you're rewarding bad behavior. I mean, that's nothing new for Hollywood. I mean, and that's nothing new, especially for that company. But it's just, y'all are doing it again. Y'all are demeaning a black woman just to save face.
For nothing. For, again, not anything of like, it's not like, oh, you're impeding this great thing. It's like, it's literally the stuff you're striving for is garbage. And this isn't me talking about like my gripes with some of their like story creative decisions. I mean, like, literally aesthetically, the way it's look. If you're saying that you have to choose between shooting her correctly versus what you put out, then that's fucking stupid. It's really fucking stupid. Like, it's go on, y'all just go on YouTube, y'all just go to them first 3 seasons of Titan, because I ain't even bothered to look at this 4th season, but just look at the first 3 seasons specifically, and you tell me if that is something that was worth sacrificing, doing shooting a black woman the correct way. And then you go look at her new movie, The Nanny.
Perfectly.
And you tell me if that is what, if The Nanny is somehow a lesser film visually than the first 3 seasons of Titans, because they chose to shoot her as the primary person, one of the primary women characters in the entire project. You tell me. Because I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to assume you're going to say Titans look ass compared to The Nanny. So again, for them to have the gall to tell her that, like, oh, I gotta, your castmates, they're all white, or they have a lighter skin tone, and and shooting them is going to lead to a more consistently better project and adding you as a priority. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like really objectively bullshit. And considering it's coming from DC and it's dealing with a person of color, specifically a black person. And then when you think about who is an executive producer on that show, Jeff Johns, and we already know how he feels about black people in these projects that he works with. He doesn't really value anything that they, try to educate him on, So it's unsurprising, but surprising at the same time. It's unsurprising in that they feel that way, but I just hate that would be something that they say, let alone say out loud. And then that's something she has to carry. And like Avia and Mike brought up, when you think about the initial reaction to Titans and Starfire specifically and all the bullshit that she had to deal with and everything like that, only for people who watch the show that could say she's consistently the best part of the entire series. And that never gets as brought up as a costume she wore for maybe half of the first season, if not the entirety of it. But really, who cares? It's like, it's fucking bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
It's like, it's fucking bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
Y'all got anything to add?
I can't tell if I'm frozen or not, but I agree.
No, you good.
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, no, it's if the cat stuff sucked, this is shitty. I'm just very disappointed isn't even the word. I'm just not shocked. And that's the environment, or let me say it like this, from my perspective, that's the environment that I'm just gonna say DC, specifically Warner Brothers Television, that specific area, that's the environment that they allowed paints a very ugly and it's shitty. It's shitty. It's very shitty.
Indeed. And men dropping these bars per usual. Basics for white actors, also generally speaking,
That's
low
truth
on
right there.
privileges,
That's truth.
especially for black folks, then would be reduced as woke, as if it's ridiculous to demand these things they consider mundane. Yep, that's bars and a half.
And that's how somebody got the keys to a company.
All right, so these are important topics. So we got anything else to add? As my mouse gets into gear, because all of this shit is more connected than people realize. But
oh yeah, I mean it's unrelated. I mean it's related but unrelated. Because I just had to say this before it gets too late. Golden Globe nominations came out, and Critics' Choice Award nominations came out, and there were actually some very surprising ones in there. I'm just gonna say. I love that Viola Davis got nominated for The Woman King. Well deserved. Angela Bassett for Black Panther 2, much deserved. Emma Darcy for House of the Dragons. Let's go. I don't know, they were just acting, of course, Abbott Elementary. Gotta go for the great. And it's just, just some very surprising but well deserved nominations this year that I was like, okay, this is getting somewhere. There's still a long way to go. But like, okay. Except for the Golden Globes, there were no women directors, but are we really surprised? That one I wasn't really shocked about, but hopefully that will change. But I just wanted to put that out there. But
not Aaron disappearing, but yeah, yeah, the Golden Glove. That's going to have to be an entirely different episode, so we can dissect all of that because there's some things as well. It probably would have been the main course of this episode if not for the last 48 hours or such. Hell, it's still ongoing as far as I'm seeing. Because boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, right on cue. Let's make sure everything syncs on in. All right, he'll pop on in. So, y'all, this is So, James Gunn. This is the point in the show where I will tell you guys again we're live. Please be in the chat if you want to let your voices be heard, because this is nonsense. Transparency. I'm gonna speak for myself for a second. I've been doing this for about 5 years in total at this point. And I've been a part of different things and entities that talked about DC in certain capacities. And last night was a day I kind of was fearing the most against, because I was like, please don't let this shit come to an end without any real closure or false hope. And it did, because James Gunn is a fucking idiot. So last night, James Gunn took the liberty of fucking doing the one damn thing that not even his predecessors were stupid enough to publicly do, and that is fire Henry Cavill and say he is no longer Superman. And what makes this very much worse than, in my opinion, anything Walter or Toby or John or Jeff did was that at the very fucking least, they kept his likeness around for their own gains. Now, it was going to inevitably end in some bullshit, but at least maybe if one or two stupid things happened, he might have shown his face again. And you can more or less argue it did, because Black Adam. But for him to fire Henry Cavill basically 2 months after he said he's back as Superman, a role that I don't care what anyone says, that's been his dream role that he earned. Hell, he's the reason why I even care about Superman. I'm not even going to hold y'all. Man of Steel, his performance, Zack's direction, that's what got me to understand just how important Superman was. So I will always owe Henry that. It wasn't Christopher Reeve. It wasn't Brandon Routh. It sure as fuck wasn't Dean Cain. It was Henry Cavill. So I feel like for James Gunn to sit there, and he can fucking cap on the internet all he wants to, and y'all can believe it if that's your prerogative, but there is no way in hell that was respectful how he did Henry. Him talking about, oh, I wanted a younger Superman. Oh, I think that's the direction. But now he's clarifying, well, but it's not an origin story. But he wants a younger Superman. I would like to show y'all something, because it's something that I'm currently pulled up. So if y'all can give me a hot moment as I speak, because this bullshit, this is what pisses me off. This is why I get so pissed off about these executives and how they do folks, specifically the fans, because they talk to fans like they're fucking morons. They talk to fans like they don't understand what the fuck is going on. So James Gunn has consistently said since last night, well, this was the decision made because they're going in a younger direction for Superman, that this is what they want to do. So let me share screen something up for y'all real quick. And I'm going to ask y'all, I want y'all to give me y'all's thoughts and opinions on this one. And y'all tell me if this shit makes sense. So he says he wants a younger Superman. Yet, this is Robert Pattinson, his age, 36 years old. He's currently playing a young Bruce Wayne, a year two Bruce Wayne to be exact, in the Batman. Now, James Gunn has said that he's not touching the Batman's whatever they're doing over there. I don't believe it, because nothing he said has been truthful, in my opinion. You guys can disagree, but when you say it there and say, oh, well, this is not true, this is kind of true, and this is things we haven't decided on, and yet everything that has come out from Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and other outlets, you've more or less proven true. if this age is acceptable for a year 2 Batman, why the fuck isn't this acceptable for a objectively year 2 or 3 Superman? Because Henry Cavill doesn't fucking look geriatric. If you're telling me a 3-year difference in age between two motherfuckers who look like they can push 25, maybe the highest I will, if I was a person who were unfamiliar with either of these two, I would say these motherfuckers are at least 32, 33. They sure as shit don't look 36 or 39. And Henry Cavill constantly keeps himself in good shape. So if you're telling me a 3-year age gap splits the difference between who is considered younger to play a not origin story, but still on the up and coming Superman versus a not origin story, but can still play an up and coming Batman, then you can live in that fucking stupid ass fantasy world all you want to. But I'm going to use common sense and not go down that route. And I would also ask James to stop insulting everyone's fucking intelligence and pretending like, oh, because Henry showed class and decorum in him being fired from something he wanted it to be for so long, that means that you're friends, or that he probably, your bullshit at, oh, we got other roles we'll grasp you and get you to be. Don't mistake that like you're friends. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. You fired him on Twitter for a Superman reboot that will objectively not do any better than Man of Steel. Because unless you get Christopher Nolan attached to it, you get Martin Scorsese attached to it, you're not going to get that type of clout that Man of Steel had going into it.
Absolutely.
And if you're just going to do anything remotely in the same ballpark of Christopher Reeve, or God forbid, Superman and Lois on the CW, you're really cruising for a bruising. Stop the cap. Stop it. Stop it, dude. You don't do that shit. You don't treat people like that in Hollywood. Your buddy, Kevin Feige, sure as shit wouldn't do that to any of his actors. Matter of fact, we know this because Patrick Stewart was in Multiversus Madness as Professor X. And while I have no connections, it's been said that he's honoring a lot of those Fox contracts that would have ran into their end dates originally if 21st Century Fox was still a singular entity.
And not only that, it just makes sense. It's good business sense.
Very good business sense. It's very good business sense. You don't throw the baby out in the bathwater. You don't do that. Like, if you have whatever, you didn't want the Snyderverse like some stupid executives didn't want, fine. I don't know why you wouldn't, considering it the momentum and how literally multiple industry professionals were on board with continuing it. But sure, whatever. That still doesn't mean you have to full reboot to please a CEO that's bottom line first, that's been cutting out institutions in his own company like it's a tumor. You really think a guy who got Westworld up out of here, Westworld, that at a time, I'm sorry, I'm just going to point this out, that at a time was the 1B to Game of Thrones 1A. If he got that whole series up out of here based off of low numbers and viewerships, what the fuck you think he's going to do to a movie franchise that doesn't rival Marvel's next phase, which more than likely they're going to be on some Jordan 95, 96 comeback because of how poorly received phase 4 was. And you're talking about, well, we're going to give it 10 years. Motherfucker, in 4, we're going to get Marvel movies that they're going to be trying to punch everybody in the face to make it blockbusters, especially if they start pulling back on projects and not make them Disney Plus shows, and they just make it more streamlined. Do you really think people are going to be wanting to see another Superman reboot, another Aquaman reboot, when Aquaman got a hot hand because it wasn't some white blonde douchebag who talked to fish, but a Polynesian badass who represented something different that folks weren't seeing before? That they caught lightning in a bottle again with Wonder Woman, with Gal, who you can say whatever the fuck you want about her acting, but You point to me how many actors can go put movies out across the world and folks are screaming and going hype like they're in a fucking NFL game because they say one internet viral meme, and when they go to that country, they're treated like a deity. You show me that. You show me how many other actors can do that, because I can tell you one right off the head, and that's Gal. And you're going to get her out the frame. Like, go ahead, AV, with your point about Westworld.
Oh, never mind. You way past it. Well, okay. Well, I was like, well, if you go and get rid of some HBO shows, get rid of girls. Why would you cancel Minx but keep girls on the platform? If you're gonna get rid of something, get rid of girls and keep Minx. Like when they canceled Minx season for after one season, I'm like, okay, y'all tripping. Y'all are tripping. Because if you've seen Minx, it is a great show. Great show. But you decide to cancel Minx, but keep girls on. Okay. Anyways, that was gonna be my point. But you passed. But it's okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I got wrapped up in it.
It better not cancel the White Lotus. I know that.
They better not.
Y'all already know what time it is. But this is James Gunn to prove in one night how he's out of his depth with all of this shit. Transparency, fuck transparency. I'm gonna say that right now. People confuse knowing someone is going to tell you they're going to shoot you in the head with that being more courteous than them just trying to shoot you in the head without telling you. And that's stupid, because they shouldn't be doing either. Him sitting back on Twitter every other night talking about his non-fucking ideas that Zaslav can get up out of here at the drop of a dime, because we've seen him do it for less, doesn't mean a damn thing to me. I'm very much not enthused that he's writing all of this shit, because I saw Guardians 2. I know how he writes superhero movies. And no, I'm not saying it would be a beat for beat Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff. I'm just saying he lacks the facilities to write all of these characters, considering that 99% of his work is just self-inserts about his own shitty life and his own come to Jesus instances of his life. And you're telling me Superman, Batman, at the very least, might have a draft with him touching that? Come on. You've also made the next year's DC movies basically non-issues. Why the fuck would I want to go see Shazam 2, Aquaman 2? I know I said I was never going to see The Flush, and as a matter of fact, I'm a person that said I wasn't going to see any of those movies. But for the ones who were going to see those movies, even though I still don't know why you would see The Flush inherently, because it had a whole other issues, in fairness to James Gunn. It had a whole other litany of issues before he even showed up there. So that's one thing. But for those other movies, why would I see them? Why? Well, it's one thing when it's a rumored reboot that maybe the studio was reneging on, and they're going to just write all of that stuff out of there and just pretend like everything's going to continue until their next idea, versus saying, yeah, we're not even going to give you a Shazam 3 or an Aquaman 3 at all. Probably not going to give you a Blue Beetle 2. None of these things are going to happen. What's the point of seeing these movies? You basically fucked over, at the very least, David Sandberg and James Wan as fellow creators. The actors, you've 100% fucked over, because no, I don't know too many of those actors who are going to go from playing the primary pro or antagonists in these tentpole films to playing lesser version of those characters. And shame on the ones who did sign on for them. Yes, I may be talking about Jason Momoa, and yes, I do mean that, because for you to sign on to do Lobo after making so many people of color proud by breaking the mold and being successful as Aquaman, you're basically conceding defeat by playing a character far lesser than. And just basing off of how James Gunn writes these type of characters, it ain't gonna be compelling anyway. I mean, I get it, a check's a check, and maybe people don't have Apple TV to watch your TV show, Jason, but damn, I still fuck with you regardless.
Sorry, why would you say that? People don't got
because
Apple
it's the
TV
truth.
to watch that Apple TV.
I mean, because it's true. I mean, because this
sorry, I had to bust out laugh on that one, because you talking about, I'm sorry, Jason. Some people just don't have Apple TV to watch.
Where's the lie?
Call Fire Stick, Amazon Prime, man. Don't shut the people out like that.
It's only
Everybody
on
got
Apple.
an iPhone.
But do they have Apple TV? I
It
digress.
comes with it.
I digress. My point.
Ooh.
My point. My point in all of this is this: you've made The Rock look like an asshole. I know we've been memeing up The Rock looking very, very goofy over the last month and a half
The
for a
Rock,
litany
the
of
power
reasons.
of hierarchy.
I know we've made jokes about that, and that's funny and all of that stuff. I'll concede that. He played himself. He did play himself.
You got the clip. Roll the clip real quick. Y'all remember
We
that
do,
clip that he? We
we
don't got
don't
that
have
clip
no
right
clip.
now.
We ain't
Oh
got
dang! I thought
no.
we had that clip. Let me
We
check
did.
real quick.
We
Oh,
don't. But
damn.
but you still don't do shit like this. We as fans can say The Rock played himself because we're the consumers. We're consuming it.
Wait, I'm not a fan of The Rock. No shade.
I'm speaking generally, not specifically.
Oh, you remember when I was speaking general last night on the phone when y'all jumped me?
No, I don't. But it's very it's stupid. You don't do this shit. He can be on Twitter right now trying to clear shit up where we're going 2 + 2 does not equal 5 like you're trying to tell us, James. All he wants to. And it's like and that's I don't even think he's devious enough. That's the previous regime. They would do some devious shit like this. This just stupid and self-serving. Like that's my response. So what if he was worried about Aquaman 2 doing better than this stuff? So they are gutting everything now with these announcements, so nobody goes to see it. That's Hamada and Emmerich tactic, objectively, because they've done shit like that. Gunn, I think he's just a fucking moron. I will say that. This is Cormani speaking for himself, not Moral Diversity. So I'm not asking for or implying that Mike, Aaron, and Avi agrees with me. That's just my personal opinion on it. Then this one says, let us see if Gunn recast his Suicide Squad and Peacemaker cast, since they were not only part of the old DCU, but they literally showed up in Black Adam as well. I mean, when he inevitably says they're not being recast, I can't wait to see how that's going to go over. Genuinely. And then, oh, wait, he won't, since they're, I mean, nepotism is a bitch. I mean, look no further than him constantly casting his brother and shit. I mean, like, it's whew, you know,
They're gonna make a Titans live action movie.
like I'm genuinely flabbergasted that instead of just standing 10 toes down and just being a dumbass, he real deal has been trying to flip this like this is something acceptable, that this is something cool, that yeah, firing a guy who just announced he's being back at the role is totally okay because I offered him smaller roles than the first. Imagine, let's just keep it real 100%. Superman, the first superhero, the most important superhero, the superhero that this man has said he wanted to play, and really at every conceivable turn played corporate politics. And we can talk about if that was the correct move, if he should have stuck with Zach 100%. We can argue that until blue in the face. But if we're looking at it from a just singular perspective, a dude who's did everything, said everything right about making sure Superman was viewed by the most people. A person that no matter if you liked Man of Steel, loved it, hated BVS, saw the Snyder Cut, no matter what, almost everybody said, yeah, he should be Superman. And you cut him out the frame for somebody else. For somebody else. Objectively somebody else.
Tom Holland. Oh
my god.
Sony is not going to let him go. Sony is not even going to humor. Sony is sending any.
My god, it's gonna
Sony is sending every James Gunn phone call to voicemail. If anything, it'll probably be Chris Pratt. It'll be Chris Pratt since he's going to be unemployed after June himself. So it's going there. He's going every matter of fact. I would not be surprised if James Gunn, dumbass, has the Guardians of the Galaxy cast as most of the next roles in his rebooted DC, objectively, because he's
Nah,
not
I don't.
creative.
I don't, honestly,
I'm
and I'm just speaking real quick. I don't think nothing gonna happen. I don't think y'all gonna get anything. You ain't getting no Wonder Woman. You ain't getting no Superman. You ain't gonna get no Batman. Y'all ain't getting nothing. It's gonna
oh yeah,
all burn to the ground, and ain't
that
gonna
is
have nothing to watch but Marvel movies for the
Marvel.
next 25 years and no X-Men.
No,
Well,
no, I think that it's gonna be even worse fate than that. I think Disney's gonna end up owning DC
Not 2030.
by the end of
I
2025.
really don't want that to happen just because I feel like that would just be some old Infinity Stone type shit. But
It would.
honestly, like I said, I think about a week ago when all this stuff was happening, I think this is the reason why me as a person who likes all different types of stuff, I feel like we have to, you know, take a break from all this superhero stuff because I feel like it's a never ending argument every day. Everybody has opinions, everybody has their emotions and everything. But this is why I feel like you need to watch something else or you need to, put your time and effort into some other things because at the end of the day, this stuff is still gonna be going on. Nothing is gonna happen and change overnight with these DC movies. So, this is the time where you should be looking at your other franchises and, you know, seeing what they doing and how they are, making you feel. Cause this DC stuff ain't cutting it right now. And that's
No,
okay.
no, I
It's
agree with
okay.
I
Y'all
agree
wasn't
with
watching the stuff anyway, so I mean
but
well,
it's I mean, I wasn't. I absolutely wasn't. I ain't seen the Batman, I ain't seen Black Adam, I ain't seen Super Pets, and I have no interest in doing it. But I
child.
still am a firm believer in there's ways you go about handling business, especially with people. And what I absolutely can't stand is playing in folks' face about shit we can see and hear and comprehend very
Oh,
well. And you pretend and folks pretending like that's not the case. And all James Gunn has done is just type away on his computer, talking about some bullshit as a bunch of folks go, well, he's being transparent, and the other people weren't being transparent and about the plans. And I hate to break it to y'all, and I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. They were
mm,
transparent. They were very transparent with what they wanted. What they wanted was Zach gone and a reboot. That's it. And a bunch of shell movies that would either A, come out, or B, be in production hell as they racked up money on the side as executive producers. And if the movie did come out, they would under budget it so the return would be big. We've seen that. That was their plan. They were very transparent. And they hated us. They called us bots. They said we were toxic. They said it was a cul-de-sac. That was their transparency. They weren't
some of
on
y'all
their
are
social
toxic though. No shade.
they were they weren't on their social media accounts telling us every beat for beat idea they had, but they were very transparent with how they felt about us. Some of y'all just didn't want to believe it. And I also want to say to every motherfucker out there who patted
Mm.
James Gunn on the back for talking bad about a scooper or saying this thing was not true or all of this other stuff and give James Gunn a chance, this is y'all's fault. This is y'all's fault. For the people out there saying that you should have saw Black Adam because that was the best chance to restore the Snyderverse and get it to $1 billion. I just want to fucking say, one, considering that most of you assholes were telling folks that anyone telling you Henry Cavill being in the movie was a lie because there was no way he could have shot that post-credit scene and be in the movie, and it was going to be a headless cameo, therefore doing even more damage to people probably seeing it. You can't say that. And then secondly, in what universe does a Black Adam movie make $1 billion when it comes out 2 weeks before Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Mm.
Can y'all tell me that universe?
Oh, child. I was about to say something, and that was gonna get me in trouble.
No, say it because
Oh
I've been talking.
no!
I've been talking for too long anyway. I'm
Oh,
just
that is a Patreon conversation.
They got paid. They got
That's
paid.
yeah, pay for that
Mm,
conversation. 'Cause, girl,
Patreon.
look,
No, they gotta
like,
pay to play.
Oh,
They gotta
yeah.
they
pay to
gotta
play.
pay to play. You better pay them bills with that verification.
Pay to
Um,
play. Got to pay to play.
gotta pay to play. Pay to play. No, but in all seriousness,
Oh
what Q
my
has been
gosh.
saying all night has been like stay on fact, on fact, on fact. I just think with us on this cast, we have different perspectives, and I think we just want y'all to just be aware and be okay. Okay.
I mean, y'all are spitting. It should be Paramount or Universal because
I
But
would.
here's why
I
I say
kind
that.
of wish it was. I wish it was. I mean, I feel like sometimes I do want it to be Paramount because I think they have done a great job. I think they did a good job with the Halo series. I think they've done a great job with a lot of shows that are on there, original shows. I mean, I
And
watched RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars on there. The production is amazing. So I think if they had an opportunity to gain that, it would be good. We might can get some, some series and stuff. I don't know. I just honestly, I don't know what I want from DC right now, and that's just
uh,
me.
i- if they did sell to Paramount, I feel like it would be good because they lost their rights to Disney. They lost all their Marvel rights to Disney with the Avengers rights. I'm like, this would be a good foot if they did sell to Paramount. It would be good footing for them to get back in that game. I mean, Universal would be a good choice too because I mean they didn't really have a lot of superhero properties. So I'm curious to see what they would do with DC properties. And from a creative standpoint in this whole situation, like I would be anxious. I would be worried. I'd be like, okay, if y'all are rebooting this whole thing and doing this whole thing, how do I fit into all this? Like
Hmm.
if you're writing everything, like you mean it's like what? Let's say if instead of Wonder Woman, right? They decided to reboot it with Nubia, even though that probably won't happen. But let's just say they did, right? And he's like, "No, I'm writing Nubia. Like, if you have this whole plan, right? This whole plan, and you're writing it out, and you're writing it, but I'm a black woman. Nubia's a black woman. Why am I not writing her? Granted, like I said, he did that one probably won't ever happen with him in charge. But I'm just like, as a creative, especially with this particular genre, that's very rare, and so it needs to be understood that if a director is going to, besides him, is going to make these movies, let them make these movies. You don't need to be the one writing all of them. Like, don't from a creative standpoint, like,
I just I just I like DC's gonna be so fucking white, y'all. I know y'all. I
it
know folks.
is. It
I know
is.
folks. I know folks get skittish when 4 black people start saying, "Oh, this is gonna be really white." I know y'all like to get real lame when we say stuff like that, but it's the truth. Um, y'all when it's 50 million white superheroes. If y'all thought if y'all wanted Nubia, that's not happening. And if it does happen, it won't be written by a black woman because James Gunn doesn't have the facilities to accurately depict Nubia or see to it that she is. I'm gonna blame Patty Pat too because if she didn't make Wonder Woman 84 ass with Jeff Johns, we wouldn't be in this
Oh
situation.
hell no, me. I'm sorry.
Family,
Hell nah. You know
family.
what? I think
Fam.
I think that calls for a commercial
Let's
break
take
right
a
then and there.
let's take a walk to the front porch real quick.
Come
Take them,
oh,
take them.
oh, 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 oh,
Let's
oh,
take a walk to the
Put
front
camera
porch real
on.
quick.
oh.
Okay, let's take a little walk.
Oh, and you got
Let's
Metron.
take a little
And
walk.
it's about to get real. You got Metron too. It's
Okay.
about
First off, y'all didn't listen. Y'all didn't listen. Not you, the royal you, specifically not the ones we're currently watching, but
Or maybe
y'all
if
know
y'all
which
are.
ones I'm talking about. Y'all didn't listen. Yeah, if you are watching, hey, how you doing? I love you guys. but I'm very disappointed, mostly as a fan, but also from a creative and business standpoint. I mean, the fact that I want first. Let me preface it. The shit that happened at DC um, in 2020 to 2021, uh, it's never going to happen again in terms of a fandom being able to bring a company to its knees to make them release over. Okay, everyone's wising up. That's why they got Zaslav in the first place. You get a shark. You get a shark to make sure nobody screws anybody over anymore. For better or for worse. It's worse for the consumer. The second thing is the consumer supply and demand. That's the rule of the game. This is where I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. James Gunn screwed the pooch right here. You cut off the demand and you're going to come up with a new supply. This is literally new Coke. You know, if everybody knows the history of Coca-Cola, nobody fucked with new
Mhm.
Coke. This is literally going to be new Coke for, the superhero genre. The third thing is, as we've said on this channel, and I think Wang said it earlier too, what Spielberg said, superhero fatigue, it's happening. Nobody
Yes.
fundamentally, even though we all have our feelings about Black Adam, I didn't particularly see it, but just from hearing about it and other things regarding it, nobody wants those type of suits anymore. Nobody wants the cliche superhero coming. Like, we want our stories. This comes down to story. We want our stories with some meat to it. That's the reason why Marvel succeeded for as long as it did, because compared to all the other shit that was coming out at that time, between what 2008 to 2000, maybe 13, before Man of Steel, obviously, the everything that was coming out was bullshit. I'm just gonna say it. It was corny bullshit, because the times have changed, and that's what these people don't understand. You have James Gunn basically continuing the old guard, whether we like it or not. We can feel how we want to feel about it, specifically on on that bird, but the old guard was, like you said, get rid of Zach, reboot, have these younger characters come in. And the thing is, let me tell you what really from from a standpoint of where I am, specifically, somebody on Twitter stated it was like what James Gunn's biggest mistake out of all of this was giving himself the Superman reboot. You don't do that who gets the keys to the entire company then says, I'm going to touch the biggest character. Yes, it's wonderful. It's beautiful. You can take on this beautiful, big, massive character, the OG superhero, but you've cut off all these people who want to come in and tell these stories. Obviously, nobody wants to do it wrong. It's a toxic ass company. You know, it's a toxic ass
Why
company.
with
Everybody
Pierce
wants to making
Brosnan?
it worse and worse. And I'm just gonna say, the fans, you did a hell of a job trying to keep this train going, but I'm just gonna say, the ones who were very close, y'all failed. You absolutely failed. Not just the
Big time.
ones that we're all gonna immediately think of, but everyone who had some sort of failed. You had an opportunity to make literary history, something that's going to be in the books. Regardless, best believe all this is going to be in the book of an entire company. We can talk about the possibility that all this is happening because ploy to get everything sold off because it's so much in debt. But that's neither here nor there right now. It's just the fact that you as in you, especially the executives and all these people who I know are checking this out because it's too tantalizing not to. You failed. You don't know
Yes.
what you're doing, and you've shown you don't know what you're doing, because every single time you try to redo this stuff since what 2017, it's been a failure after failure. And from a business standpoint, who wants to touch something like this? You get rid of your biggest stars, you get rid of your biggest directors, you get rid of your biggest talent, just because some dude who wrote some comics that people kind of fuck with, kind of don't fuck with, says how it should be. Like, who does that? That's not smart. That is just not. That's the problem. Is that regardless how we feel about Disney, regardless how we feel about Mikey, they knew what the hell they were doing. They knew how to cater to the fans.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing. All the fans have been cut off. The ones who really are ride or die.
Yeah,
They're cut
and
off.
also
They don't care. Now you have
right.
people on Twitter, like Twitter fans. They don't exist.
And I think
They
that's
don't exist.
go ahead, Navia.
Aaron, you made a good point when you said Marvel, because Kevin Feige, he's a producer. He's not, once he was in that chart, once he got in that position of power, he didn't write anything. Like he sought talent out.
Mm-hmm.
He sought the talent out, and he catered to it. And he was like, okay, y'all can do what y'all want, and he pretty much let them go. But that's not going to happen here, because he's already taking control and already trying to write everything in his image. Like, that's a problem.
And that's where he's gonna. I think that's what's gonna be the downfall of it all, because I think he wants that. You got the keys to the kingdom, but it's how you're going to build up that kingdom. And I honestly don't think he's gonna do a great. I don't think he's gonna do what people are expecting him to do. Um, you gotta let people.
I don't think the movies are going to come out. Period.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I don't think nothing is coming out. I mean, you might get what you get next year, but I don't think anything after that. I think everything, honestly and truly, I don't even think Titans gonna get another season, just because
Probably
oh,
I
that
feel like I
probably
feel
won't.
like because of what is going on, a lot of more stuff is going to be canned and sidetracked and everything like that. Because could you imagine him trying to add Titans into that whole universe that he's trying to create? No, it wouldn't make sense.
I'm gonna say this. James Gunn has literally set DC back 20 years. Literally 20. It's 20. He set everything back 20 years. This isn't a 5 years type deal, or we're setting it back. Like, it's not even going to be 10 with Man of Steel. It's 20. It's 20. Because once you show folks definitive versions of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman where a large contingent of people fuck with, how do you try to sell them on another one? You're not going to get lightning in a bottle and get a Bale to Ben Affleck type deal, which, by the way, everyone hated Ben Affleck as Batman until they saw it. And again, Batman is more of a symbol in reality. In our real world is just as much as a symbol as in the fictional world. So you can get away with kind of half-assing Batman. But what about the rest of these heroes you're finna go ahead and try to reintroduce?
You can't do it.
You can't do it. And again, this is what people, I always say this, there's still no such thing as halfway crooks. So if we're going to talk about this, we got to talk about it all the way. You cannot convince people, unless Kevin Feige says tomorrow, Secret Wars is the very last Marvel movie ever being made forever, and we're never doing another Marvel movie at all under this or any other umbrella. You are not convincing people to not watch deep Marvel movies that are building to something and characters that we've been wanting to see for reboots of a reboots, for things that they were already lukewarm on, when they had actors that they liked and were cool with kicking and watching, and now you're saying that shit doesn't matter. With the guy who's running everything, who at any point can go, oh, this doesn't satisfy me, I'm pulling the plug, and making sure no one can ever watch it in any platform ever again. Because that's what is happening. You see, James Gunn think he has house money, but really all he's playing with is bounce checks. That's what's mind-boggling to me. And the fact that he's just so brazen walking around thinking that everything, like, I agree with Mike. James Gunn ain't lasting a year. I'll put that stamp right there.
You agree with me? You agree with me?
I have all night. I I know you
Oh,
do.
me. Oh, wow, me.
But James Gunn is not lasting a year. He's not. He's going to be up out of here by a year because, and I know it probably won't be the case because if they didn't have a spine when all of this stuff was happening, I doubt they will about this. But even if I'm wrong, even if these directors go, yeah, this is fucked up, I'm over it. Like it's not looking good. There's no investment. The general audience does not love these non-household DC characters like that. They don't. They don't. Black Adam proved that. Black Adam at its best is standalone. And folks weren't rocking with it. Yes, it had a lot to do with it coming out 2 weeks before Black Panther. But even if it didn't, what else can be said? But you know what you could have done? You could have built you could have built on what they did. You could have brought in folks that wanted to tell a better story. You could have sat The Rock's ass down and said, no, you bald-headed son of a bitch. You're going to be in Shazam 2 or 3 or whatever the fuck it's going to be. And you're going to fight Billy Batson like you're supposed to. And you're going to stop trying to think you're just a Superman villain or his equal because you're not. And if The Rock had a problem with it, he would have dropped out and then we could have went from there. But you could have built. You could have been brought in the other Justice League members. You could have locked in Wonder Woman 3. You should have told Patty to get rid of Jeff Johns. But you could have locked in Wonder Woman 3. You could have did a million other things. But you know the most important thing that could have been done? The most important thing that could have been done that now will probably never happen. And if it does happen, it'll just be a hollow fucking piece of shit that will be probably called out as such. Could have just apologized to Ray Fisher and the other members of the Justice League investigation.
Ego wasn't gonna allow that.
I know all of the reasons why they wouldn't have done that, but my point is,
yeah,
you could have just did that. Am I lying, y'all? Is there any lies I'm being told?
No, not a lie. Not a lie has been told. But what really irks me is I keep seeing these takes about the DCEU. It was a mess and need to be cleaned up, etc., etc. It was only, keep it a buck, it was only a mess to a bunch of nerds on social media, and then it became a mess outside looking in to bigger people in the film industry because of all of the behind the scenes drama. That's the only reason why it was considered a mess. You do not kill your stories before they even get started. You don't do that. And I think what Q and I talked about last night is the age of like reboots. That's over. Continuity is in. Everyone wants to see. You could literally have your cake and eat it too nowadays in films like these. But when you're trying to redo everything completely, and you've got a 10-year plan, nobody's going to be around for the next years for that to care about that. I think that's realized. Nobody, like with all the history, just with the past, like 3 years, the general audience, they're like, like, I'm just gonna pick on my dad for a second. He doesn't know or care too many of the characters. He knows the main ones in terms of like the big two. He know or care about some of the, like the Question and all that stuff, because they're just comic book characters who come, who may be on this big screen or not. But the fact that you are trying to reintroduce these characters with something completely new, people like my dad who don't give a damn are not going to care. They're not going to care. Like, they're not going to care about, oh, this is how we fix the DC universe. Oh, we're doing this instead. We're being more like Marvel. We're doing this. They don't care. And they're not going to come and show up. That's the hard truth. They're not showing up. And, and it's really fucking stupid. I'm just gonna say it's really fucking stupid for all these people to expect somebody like Zaslav to say, "Yeah, we're going." So he had the Trinity. It was that's all just vaporware. Like that's all. He doesn't care. You have people with the keys to a lot of IP, a lot of iconic IP that just don't care. And the fact that, there are some people who think this is going to shake everything up and make a beautiful, well-constructed universe, I'm sorry to say, it's just not going to happen. It's just
not gonna happen. If you're holding out hope that if
you
you're
don't want
holding
a
out hope
cookie that's got too much sugar, like
if you're holding out hope that James Gunn should be given a chance because he says he has a slate and he tells you a bunch of rough ideas that may come on, y'all. Matt Reeves was in and out of the Batman before he did what he did, whatever it was. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but that man was legitimately in and out of that project. You think because this dude says, I have an idea of what I want to do with Superman. Like, come on, y'all. We've forgotten about drafts now. Drafts are no longer a thing. For God's sake, fucking No Way Home wasn't gonna have Toby or Andrew in it until they COVID and they switched around the movie. So don't sit there. Don't sit there and just take this shit at face value, y'all. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I've told y'all this from the very beginning. Do not trust these executives.
Wait, if they wasn't in the movie, would it have been a completely different movie?
The movie was originally supposed to be Chavez and Strange as the two guest stars, which
that makes sense.
Which it is, I don't know what were they cooking, but
they were cooking the best movie of the year.
But it was, I keep telling y'all to stop trusting these executives, and y'all fall for it every time. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I fucking don't fall into that trap of trusting executives. I have, and God forbid
you fell into a trap.
But at the end of the day, y'all, when somebody when a snake shakes its tail and it shows its fangs, don't say it ain't gonna bite you, and don't say it ain't gonna poison you when it bites you, because you're being purposefully obtuse. There's that word again. And Channing Tatum was announced as Gambit back in 2014. I remember
that. I remember that.
I remember it.
And everything. He was a con and everything.
Yes, I remember that shit like it was yesterday. Fox was trying to build out their cinematic universe because Ike Perlmutter fumbled the bag spectacularly in trying to get the X-Men and Fantastic Four back into the MCU. This man, with like Avia so eloquently put, was at Comic-Con with the Gambit shirt with Stan Lee at the X-Men Apocalypse panel the year after. It was all good. This man was working on a script for 3-4 years, it seemed. Oh, we got the Gambit script. Rumors of him being in Deadpool 2. All of that. The whole 9 yards. Nothing came of it, we know. But I just want to say this. If Channing Tatum's ass shows up in Deadpool 3 as Gambit, do you know how fucking bad this makes? I mean, I know we've said that a lot, but do you know how fucking awful it makes all of this shit looks? That Feige was even if it's for a joke cameo where he dies 30 seconds later, the fact that they honored Channing Tatum being Gambit, but James Gunn couldn't even honor Henry Cavill being Superman. The guy who's only been in highly successful Superman DC movies. Brandon Routh can't say that. Christopher Reeves could say that for 2 out of the 4 movies he was in. Dean Cain, he not even on the same plane of reality to talk about this conversation because he flopped entirely. A guy so committed to playing ball, he's pissed off a lot of people in the fandom based off of rumors and situations that some might have more information to than others. I ain't gonna deny it. But not to even fucking keep him and talk about you going for a younger Superman, but it's not an origin story when he's only 3 years older than the guy currently playing the Batman that you say is not going to be added to any universe. But since you've literally lied about everything else, no matter how you try to spin it, I don't know.
That's what happened when you listen to a bunch of scoopers. But on that note,
but it's like don't even get me started.
I got a final thought. You know what my final thought is? I'm about to go play Call of Duty.
Must be nice.
You not playing?
This dude is not even thought about putting this PlayStation back in the game room, and he's gonna be like, "So I didn't even play it. I was sitting here watching Zora. And I didn't get a chance to play it. And you want to come in here and play it, and I ain't
We're actually
playing."
here to do what we do best. Scam.
You say that, but I'm so serious when I say that it's not gonna. I'm so serious when I say that this man is gonna not put the PS5 back in here so I can play it. I'm so serious.
I don't have no final thoughts. Catch us next week for Christmas episode. Thank you for tuning in.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, Avia, what's your final thoughts? I was not expecting the I thought you had one in the chamber.
No, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. There needs to be more honest discourse about this, like
Period.
and see what is actually going on behind closed doors. And I also want to also it's just we also need to figure out, well, what we do as a fandom, we hold everybody accountable. Like that's what we're doing. Like we're holding everyone who is, pretty much making all these shitty deals, doing all this stuff accountable. But we need to. My mom always says, "Be mad at what you're mad at." So if someone isn't, I feel like we need to be more. Even though a lot of us are in investigation mode, because when Q knows stuff, like he knows it, like because he investigates and he sees things, and we all do, like not just Q, like all four of us do in our own way, in our own capacity. So I feel like we definitely need to observe, like, what was that? Latoya Jackson.
Oh yeah, with the magnifying glass.
So let's just go investigate. And I just also want to say, we as Black voices of the fandom, like y'all really do need to listen to us, because like Aaron said, like we've said this wrong.
Yeah, we've said this many a times.
We're just not popular enough. We're not popular enough, and we have a scarlet letter on us because some fucking morons decided to try to blacklist us, and it didn't work.
I don't care about no damn scarlet letter. You know who my favorite character is? The Scarlet Witch. I gotta be a witch.
Surprise! Well, jokes on them. None of us fucking in the door anymore, because after this bullshit, I am going to laugh my ass off if I see anybody, which I'm more than likely going to see.
When that lady said she loved James Gunn, anyway.
Like the ass, if I see any ass sucking from anybody talking about,
come on, cutie, you done said the M for, and now you saying ass sucking. I cannot.
I mean, because like I gotta keep. I'm done.
Peace out.
If I gotta. if I can be honest for a hot second on that with all of this, right? A lot of y'all have been fighting back against a lot of folks who were trying to push that maybe this shit would have been set back. A lot of y'all were calling folks liars about that under the guise of protecting people from looking stupid. And now we're all looking stupid because y'all tried to be some virtue signaling assholes. Teach their own. It is what it is. But, and I can't stress this out enough, now we are officially in the dark timeline. That Ayer cut ain't seeing the light of day. Not until about 15 years from now, where it absolutely cannot play a factor. And that's if Warner Brothers Discovery is still an entity that can afford to put it out. And whatever ends up absorbing whatever property decides that they still have that to put out. Sorry, David Ayer, if you somehow come across this, but you should have been mean 3 years ago. I respect your work, but you should have not played nice. I'm at that point where I'm willing to say that directly to you. Also, I just want to say that find something else y'all like, and I've told y'all this a billion times before. I told y'all this when I told y'all to boycott the Batman, and y'all didn't listen to me then. If y'all would have boycotted the Batman, I can guarantee you we wouldn't have been in this position.
I was going to keep my mouth closed. I was going to keep my mouth closed. See, what you're not going to do? What you're not going to do is keep
it's
it
your fault.
Now.
It's y'all's fault. It's y'all's fault because I told y'all to boycott that Batman movie. Y'all didn't listen because y'all wanted to have Matt Reeves.
Anything else?
Y'all wanted to give Matt. Y'all wanted to say
the Batman.
Matt Reeves.
Stay away from it.
Y'all wanted to say Matt Reeves this, Matt Reeves that. Y'all prerogative. That's y'all prerogative. But all I will tell you is that if y'all would have just boycotted that movie, that did not bring folks back to the theater.
It is our prerogative because you know what's gonna happen. Matt Reeves gonna get the keys to the city, okay?
But I told y'all to do that. They really would have paid attention in, but y'all didn't want to. Y'all prerogative. I ain't mad at you. But all I will say is that this shit could have been solved 100 times before when folks slipped on a banana peel and fell down the stairs, but y'all didn't want to do that. And my third piece of information is look out for us playing Mario Kart with the custom item settings because that is going to be hilarious. I'm done telling them I'm not going to do blue shells because they're going to pretend like I am going to do blue shells. So I'm just going to let them live in whatever universe they think is going to be.
Watch. But gonna be blue shells. Just watch.
Yeah. It's about time we wrapped everything up. Thank y'all for watching. Yesterday, if you want to hear some funny stuff about folks who actually do cool things, yesterday, me, Avia, and Mike, I don't know why I was thinking of saying Aaron and Avia at the same time, but the three of us interviewed for the third time Kareen Ingle about King Tweety, and she dropped a bunch of gems. Now, it also ended on a cliffhanger, and unlike James Gunn, we're not going to fuck you guys over and deny you of a resolution because we have part 2 coming up in the near future. That probably will be a New Year special because for Christmas, these folks talking about a Christmas live, but it might not be a Christmas live because that's a Sunday. But I do have something to stock y'all stuff your stocking. Fish brisket, because I am launching my long-awaited game interview series with a very special guest, a longtime supporter who's been grinding hardcore and putting out dope content for all the gamers out there. Rhea, I cannot wait for y'all to see that interview. My hopes and dreams that I'm going to manifest into reality is that it drops next Friday in its entirety. So look out for the channel for that. And yeah, Mario Kart Madness is coming back on YouTube, not Twitch, because a lot of y'all's Twitch, y'all don't know how to operate Twitch, which I understand because it can be very daunting. So we'll be playing it here on YouTube. Custom items, bullet bills only, golden mushrooms only, 200cc. You already know how it is. And yeah, as a final thought for me, we don't care if James Gunn see this. We stand 10 toes down on it because shit, we ain't lie like he did. and go support Rebel Moon when it comes out. Yeah. Aaron, your final thoughts?
Fandoms are stupid. Fandoms are really stupid. Nerds who have access, who are journalists on social media, have ruined possibly one of the most greatest subgenres in film that is going to have a very long time catching up to what it could be. So,
did you say hug bees? Did you say hug bees? Or could bees? Mike, close us out. On that note, everybody say peace out, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.